Hey there, it's Shanice Miller, debt-free college grad. So congratulations, you're just trucking right along. We've already gone over exactly where to find the scholarships and the scholarship application do's and don'ts. Now we're going to just dive into how to create the perfect scholarship winning essay. This is another big topic. A lot of people are like, how do I write that scholarship winning essay that doesn't take up a whole lot of time and energy on my part? And I want to teach you in this section how you can take one scholarship essay and use that basic framework for a bunch of different or other scholarship essays using themes. So really be sure to hone in on that and to look out for that. Also, as far as the essay goes, I'm always talking about how you don't have to have a high GPA or SAT scores to win scholarships. Now, what a lot of people don't know is that there are some essay only contests, meaning that there are some scholarships that will be awarded to people who are only writing essays, meaning you don't have to put down your GPA or SAT scores on the package. They just want to see that you can write a really great scholarship essay. So if you have a lower or average SAT score or GPA, then these will be the scholarships that you might want to focus in on and really practice your writing skills. Also, if you don't have the highest GPA or SAT scores, then you will focus on the scholarships that are going to showcase your talents. Those will be the scholarships for you as well. So say if you're a great musician, or if you're great at art, or if you have a really great performance, you're going to be an actress. These will be those scholarships that you're really going to apply to. Now, those scholarships might or might not require you to write an essay. They might require you to instead submit a demo of you singing or playing that instrument, or submit a portfolio of your artwork. These are all going to be great places for people without the highest GPA or SAT scores to search for scholarships, like we spoke in the first part, which was where in the world do I find the scholarships. So now, without further ado, let's just jump right into how you're going to create this perfect scholarship winning essay. Now, most scholarships that you apply to will have an essay portion. So that's why I'm going to include some easy tips on writing effective scholarship winning essays. Now, tip number one, you want to make sure that you answer the question that's asked. I cannot say this enough. The, remember we talked about how incomplete scholarship applications are the number one way to be disqualified as a potential scholarship recipient? Well, if you don't answer the scholarship essay question that's being asked, that is seen as an incomplete scholarship application. So you really want to make sure that you answer the essay question that's asked so you won't be disqualified. You can write a really good essay, but if it's not on the topic that the scholarship asks you to write about, you will be disqualified. So an example of this is the essay asks you to write about a community service experience, and you end up writing about your favorite extracurricular activities, which are playing soccer or you might be swimming. Now, even though you can write a really great essay and maybe you used your themes to write, which we'll talk about more, to write about that extracurricular activity, you didn't answer what the question asked you to do, which goes back to when we talked about essay application do's and don'ts. Are you following the directions? If you don't write about the topic that they tell you to write about, you're not following directions. So, and you're not paying attention to the details. So you will be disqualified. Make sure that you answer the questions that's asked. And really think about what you're going to write and what the question is asking you to answer. Remember, we also said it's okay to ask for help. So if you're not quite sure, ask someone what they think the question's asking you. Some questions will also have two parts, so you want to make sure that you answer both. Now, maybe one question might ask you, what qualities do you possess that will ensure college success? But a two-part question might ask you, tell us about a time you faced adversity and how you overcame it. Now you can see that "and" is asking you for two different parts that you have to answer. The time that you faced adversity and also how you overcame it. If you only talked about the time that you have faced adversity, you're not answering the whole essay question, so you might get disqualified. Make sure that you really talk about both of those times, how you faced adversity and how you overcame it. Make sure that you're paying attention to those little details. That's really what's going to help you become a scholarship winner. Now, tip number 2 is making sure that your essay is personalized. You really want to stick out from the pile of applicants that the judges have to read. So, how do you do that? You can make the application personalized to you by telling your specific story. Nobody else has the same story or experiences that you have. So by telling your story, you can really have the judges get to know you and to really remember you through your stories. Remember, you don't want to just list your accomplishments. People remember these stories. In the first part, we talked about don't just list, you have to explain. So, really tell the story of your accomplishment. Let them understand where you came from. Really get down to the pain or how it hurt you or maybe how it affected you, and then talk about exactly how you overcame that. Make sure that the people reading it can understand your interests, your skills, your specific characteristics, and the values. Anything that the essay questions ask you to talk about, make sure that they really can understand that. You want to be detailed, but at the same time, you want to really get into what it is that you want to portray to that audience, what it is that you want to have the judges understand and remember about you after they finish reading your essay. And using this personalization technique by using stories will make them remember you and want to choose you. Now, tip number 3 is to be focused. Stay focused. Sometimes, when you're trying to tell a story about your life, you want to include all the details. I know sometimes when I'm talking to a lot of my friends, we end up going all over the place. First, it starts with how we started getting dressed, and then it goes into later on how the plan shifted. In the short amount of space that an essay has, you cannot do that. It's impossible for you to do. So you want to be detailed and descriptive. You really want to have the judges see what you're doing or see what you're trying to portray to them. But you also want to focus on the important details. So sometimes getting dressed, the process for that isn't as important unless that's the main focus of your essay. That's what you're trying to present or a quality characteristic that you're trying to portray. Then only focus on that. You don't have to focus on some of the other details, like maybe what you ate that day or how you did your hair or how you brushed your teeth, unless that's what they're asking you. And that's why we're talking about finding that focal point. That focus is what's going to really make sure that you're giving the judges the right details. The focus is going to be on the one thing that's your strongest characteristic or your strongest characteristics that you want to portray depending on what the essay asks you. And it's going to focus on what you want the judges to know about you without the added detail of the other stuff that's going on. We really want to hone in to what's really important and what we really want to get across. But you also want to make sure that this focus can tie into what the directions on the essay require you to write about. So don't just have the focus, like I said before, I'm going to say it so many times, don't just have the focus be anything. You want to make sure that it answers the essay question. So focus on the answer and talk about that, and focus on the details that are only related to answering that essay question. Now, an example might be, say the scholarship essay asks you to write an essay of up to 500 words on what qualities do you possess that will ensure your success as a college student each year. So when we talk about focus, the focus of your essay is going to be on those 2 to 3 of your personal characteristics that will guarantee college success. You see, that focus ties directly into what is the essay question asking you. And this question is asking you, what qualities do you possess that's going to ensure college success? And now, as I said before, you can't just list some characteristics and state why the definitions of those characteristics will correlate to college success. You really have to make it personalized to you so that it stands out, so that the judges will really understand why. They can really understand you as a person. You really want to make it seem like they know you. That's how you're going to stand out. So Once again, telling these stories, that's going to show you portraying that specific characteristic in situations. And you can tell those stories by using themes. So, an essay theme is just basically a particular story that you have about something that's happened to you. Like if you're involved in an activity or if you have an interest that you like, you can tie that into an essay and provide great support for your essay response. Now, this is also by using the theme, you can take one essay and use it for multiple essays. So, the question can be anything. Say if you had a question about leadership skills and you also had a question about community service activities. Maybe they asked you to write some community service activities that you really enjoy. You can use that theme for community service and tie that into to talk about the community service essay. You can also use that theme of community service, which we'll talk about a little bit more in a second, to tie into your leadership abilities. Maybe you'll give the example of how when doing that community service activity, you had to become a leader. You had to really stand out. So that's how you really take one of these themes and you use it for multiple applications. You have to be creative so that you don't have to do so much work. Work smarter, not harder. So just to get back in, roping you back in, the theme is the essay that you want to portray in the essay. Sorry, the theme is the message that you want to portray in the essay. So it usually focuses on the interest that you have and how it's impacted your life. And they're going to help you personalize your essay, stay focused on one topic, and they'll also help you to take that one essay or take those supporting bodies body paragraphs that you've written and use it for other scholarship applications so that you don't have to keep rewriting completely new essays from scratch. So now let's jump into some examples of the themes. I know I touched on this before and I said a little bit about it, but we're going to just dive a little bit deeper into it. So one example of a theme could be community service. And this will be for the person that has volunteered. Maybe you're really interested in community service, or if you just had to get your hours for school, you can still talk about those community service activities. You just need to have some experiences that you can kind of talk about and portray to the judges. Now, you can use a personalized story as something that you learned or saw when volunteering. Now let's go back to our essay example where it said to write an essay of up to 500 words on what qualities you possess that will ensure your success as a college student each year. So as we stated before, the essay focus will be on the qualities and you can make it personalized with the community service theme. So say perseverance and determination, that's going to be our focus point. In the community service theme is when feeding the homeless and all of the kids. So I'm going to talk about this a little bit more, but just to kind of give you an insight, our focus, staying focused, we want to answer that essay question. So we want to answer it with the two qualities that we possess: perseverance, determination. And now feeding the homeless, that's going to be the supporting details that really show you that I have those qualities of perseverance and determination. I'm not going to write the definition of those and say that I have them. I'm going to show the judges that I have those qualities so that they can understand and they can see that I've already portrayed those qualities, so that's how they know that I could be the one that's the best for that award. Now, if I wanted to use the community service theme to answer that essay question I just gave you, then I might include the story of how I used to volunteer and help the homeless by making and handing out bags that were filled with some toiletries. So I would probably start off by saying, a never-ending line wrapped around the building, extending further than I could see. Man, do you see how I used so much imagery in that picture, in that just that one line? It was a lot better than just saying, there was a long line of people. Using that imagery can really grasp their attention. It gets them really focused in and they can really imagine what it was like to be in your shoes. That's what you want to do. You want to show them through your personal experience and have them actually feel the things that you felt. So then I might continue on and I want to talk about, say that there were so many people, we kept running out of all of our toiletries that we were supposed to be giving out. Maybe I'll talk about sometimes it was very hot or cold outside, and we would be tired after spending hours there, but we were all determined, and I was determined to help each person in line. So we kept going and persevering and fighting through the fatigue that we felt to keep making more bags until we were finished. So, really, to summarize all of that in my essay, I might, instead of just saying those just point blank plain details, I might say, we set up hundreds of bags of toiletries, but now I wondered if it was even enough. You see how I'm telling the story? I'm constantly getting them into seeing exactly what I was seeing without just stating the facts. I'm making it interesting. Then I might continue to say, after 20 minutes of standing out in the cold, the line didn't move a bit, and we were running out of the pre-made bags. So you can really see how I'm starting to craft this essay. They're wondering what's going to happen next. What is she going to do? Is she going to fold under pressure? Or is she going to keep going? This line is never ending. They can start relating this line to other things in their lives as well. Maybe they've been in a situation that felt like it was never ending. And then I would end that essay by saying I would discuss how the college can feel just like feeding the homeless. It can feel like a long, never-ending journey. Maybe I would even go back to what I said in the beginning. College can feel like a never-ending line wrapped around the building, extending further than you can see. But you have to persevere and be determined to stick with it and keep going even when the going gets tough until you get to the end or the finish line. Now, that will be a very powerful ending to my essay because it really wraps everything in. But I used my community service theme to really talk about and give examples and tell my personal story of my focal points, how I possess those qualities of perseverance and determination. So you can really see I use that theme, community service and feeding the homeless, to personalize my essay question, which I use the events to tell the story, my personal story. And that story answered the essay question, the qualities that I possess to ensure college success. But we stayed focused on one main idea. We didn't tell every story in my life that demonstrated determination and perseverance. We just stuck to really that one so that we can really answer the question. Now, everyone might not want to talk about their community service activities. Maybe you have a strong point in something else. Remember, we talked about strengths in the first part. We really have to highlight and think about what we're good at, what we're talented at, what are our gifts that we can bring. So maybe you're not a person who likes to give back, but you're a person that has something else to give. So let's look at some more examples of themes that might apply to you if the community service theme didn't apply to you. So athletics, that's another theme for people that are good at sports, or maybe you've played on a sports team and have some experiences to reflect back on. And let's take a look back at this essay example. They'll write an essay of up to 500 words on what qualities you possess to ensure your success as a college student each year. Now, someone using the sports theme may talk about an instance when they had to practice every day after a long day at school or on weekends when it was raining, or when there were very extreme temperatures, very hot, very cold. Maybe you had to practice while it was snowing or while it was a desert going on outside. And how you'll talk about how that shows dedication and determination, and that can ensure success as a college student. So you see how you can use that for anything. You just really want a nice theme as like a basis of what's going to give you your examples, and then you can kind of use those examples to explain what it is they're asking you in the essay. Another thing would be people that are good at visual performing arts. So if you are great at, you want to be an actress, an actor, you're great at drama class or dance, maybe you're a musician or you're an artist, maybe you're great at writing. This thing can really show some of the similar characteristics of an athlete, like hard work, determination, and focus. So if you're any of these, you can tie that right back into that same essay question that we talked about before. And you can use those hard work, determination, and focus points, those characteristics that are portrayed in yourself, but just use the examples of you doing your dance routine. Maybe you couldn't get it at first, but you used that hard work and determination and you nailed those moves at the very end. Same with music or drawing. You can use those examples for that particular theme or those particular instances to tell your story of how you portray those similar characteristics. Now, another theme could be an academic achiever. If you have really good grades, a high GPA, strong SAT scores, you might be on the dean's list or have taken a lot of advanced placement and honors courses, then this will be the theme for you. And someone in this category can discuss maybe if they tutored some people to help other students. They can discuss their curiosity and their thirst for knowledge and special projects that interested him. So maybe if you're an academic achiever, you might use those same characteristics. You possess that determination, that hard work, that perseverance to stay up all night to study for a test and then you ace that exam. Or to make sure that you kept up your grades. You know, a semester is a long time to keep up with the workload. So if you keep on going, you're persevering, you're showing that initiative that you're going to keep on keeping up with the workload, doing your homework each time that it's due, turning it in on time, then you can tie that into an essay as well. Another theme would be overcoming adversity. I know there are some people who may have started off with some less than stellar grades in school, but then you realize that you couldn't keep going down that same route. And a lot of times people have to overcome significant obstacles like a family problem, medical conditions, economic hardships, or even personal issues. And sometimes those personal issues or those hardships that they've overcome can get in the way of your grades. So you can definitely use this theme as a way to show that, okay, maybe my grades weren't the best in the ninth grade, but it was because of this that was happening in my life. And now I'm at a better place because I understand that. So someone in this category can really discuss the experience and how these experiences has shaped the person that you've become. So we can go right back to that same essay. What are the characteristics that you possess that will ensure college success? And maybe you're, like I said, we're going to focus all on your strengths. So you don't want to talk about, oh, I had bad grades in the ninth grade, unless the judges are asking you about that. But for that particular instance, you might say that perseverance and getting through tough times is maybe what helped me, and that those are the qualities I possess. And you would talk about that situation where you maybe had a family problem and you had to be the strong one in the family. You had to maybe help out your siblings and take up when your mom had to work late hours or anything around that nature, something that happened to you. I know a lot of people who might have been foster kids or just anything that there are a lot of people with a lot of great examples that they had to overcome adversity, tough situations that they had to go through, and you can portray this using that theme to really describe your characteristics, any strengths that you have, because people that overcome adversity really have strong characteristics. People who are great at athletics, or if you're great at anything, you really have great characteristics that are a basis that will be wonderful for these essays that can really describe and show the judges that you're a great candidate for the scholarship fund. So really think about your strengths and use those strengths to your advantage. Another theme could be the social activist, and that's the theme for the kids that are passionate and have spent time supporting and promoting social causes. So maybe you organized a rally, or you were involved in an awareness campaign, or you worked on petition drives. Maybe you saw something that was being wrong, like maybe you saw some animal abuse and you decided to fundraise and get a lot of money to help save the animals or help prevent the animals from being abused. Now, someone in this category can say they possess the qualities of a leader as well, that they are organized and they communicate well. And a lot of times I always try to say that you want to be smart when you're using some of these themes and you don't really want to ruffle flat feathers. So If you have a controversial issue, like some people might be like, I'm a social activist against abortion, you don't want to express your views too heavily on subjects that are very controversial like that, because you never know the experiences of the other judges and their views. Sometimes that can bang heads, and if you express your view, even though it might be a good view or a good point, if the judge doesn't really feel well, or it makes them feel bad or something like that, then they might write your essay off as a bad essay. So try to focus on the qualities that you possess as a result of being a social activist, but don't really focus on your views of the controversial issues, so that you won't offend any of the judges in their beliefs. So like I talked about before, maybe you're talking about pro-choice or pro-life. If you maybe you got an you say that you just got a rally, or you made the awareness campaign on the pro-choice versus pro-life, maybe you might not talk about exactly which side you were on, but you would talk about everything else that's around that. So you talk about how you are a leader. You delegated people to go to their different stations, and you communicated to others well exactly what their duties were without really stating where your stance was. You want to still portray and possess those characteristics, show that you possess those characteristics without really offending anyone else. Now, some people are entrepreneurs. These are for people that have started their own businesses, come up with ideas for products and services. And or if someone's helped a great deal with the family business. And someone in this category can discuss characteristics of being self-motivated. Maybe they're a visionary, an innovator. Maybe they're a problem solver, a manager, or they possess great communication skills. You can see how with all these examples, you can use similar characteristics. But the theme is really supposed to give you those supporting details that you can use to really help your essay, create the body of the essay, to really explain to the judges exactly why you possess those things, to really have your essay stand out, tell your story. That's what the themes are supposed to do. Maybe you're a science lover. This theme is for kids that enjoy science. Now, they can be in a science club, a special science and technology program. Maybe you've completed in a science fair, conducted research in science experiments. So in your essay, you want to show that you've conducted significant research and studied science intensively. You want to discuss a science fair or contest that you might have participated in, or research projects, maybe include some mentors and internships that you're involved in. This is really going to show that you're passionate about it. And you can still use those same things. You can use the perseverance when completing this science project. I know with a lot of science projects, it can be kind of difficult and time consuming, and sometimes the projects don't always work out like you thought it was going to work out. Maybe you started working on a certain project and you can't get one particular part working, and it took you a whole week before you got that part working. But you did. You stuck it out, you persevered, and you can use that same characteristic, but the example of being the science lover. And then there's always the leader. And this is for people that are typically the leader in groups. If you work well with others in the group, you usually hold the leadership positions, like if you're the president or the class of your class, or the treasurer, maybe you're the vice president of an organization or the captain of a sports team, then you can really stand out as a leader, and you can use that theme to talk about your leadership skills. And someone in this category will discuss characteristics of working well with the others. You can talk about the ability that you have to get along with different people, and the ability that you have to gain other members' respect and trust. You want to really show how you help the overall group accomplish a goal. So maybe working together, and also delegating. It goes back to those same core values. Those would be really great with answering that question. The first essay question: what are those um, characteristics that you possess to ensure college success? Working well with others, the ability to get along with different people. Those can all be back tied into that same question. So let's just recap. We talked about a lot of stuff today. When writing an essay, you really want to make sure that you answer the question that's asked. You want to make it personal through telling stories and recalling events that you went through. You don't want to just list your accomplishments. You want to tell that story. Really get the judges to understand and use those details and imagery so that you can make it exciting. Make sure that you have a main point that you want to focus in on, and make sure you tie it all together with a theme. Those are going to be your supporting details to help you keep that focus. And that theme will also help you to use that one essay for multiple different essay applications, scholarship applications. So take action as usual. Take action. I can't stress this enough. Start brainstorming some ideas for your essay and then watch part 2 of crafting the perfect scholarship essay. We're not finished yet. We have some more really great tips for you.